there are no bad stories and there are no bad brands. There are just some poor storytellers. So it doesn't matter that you have a brand that you think is not the most exciting or not the most sexy or something like that. It doesn't matter what the brand does when it comes to the opportunity that that brand could offer to some franchise owners and some small business owners. There's nothing sexier than that, right? There's nothing sexier than success. So being able to tell some of those stories in an exciting way, that's what really appeals to me.
Hey, welcome to What the Franchise, the regular podcast where we talk about franchise development, franchise growth, strategies for exploding a franchise system, generally how to create a performance breakthrough. And I have my guest, one of my best friends in franchising, Jack Monson. And we have a special announcement today. And Jack, I'll let you announce the special announcement. Good place to start.
Yeah, it's a big day, Thomas. Thanks for having me on here. We are thrilled to announce some changes at Brand Journalists, which Thomas started back in 2008. Is that right? Wow.
That's right.
That's been quite a few years, since you and I first met. I think we met at IFA in about 2009 or so. So anyway, big change at Brand Journalists. Thomas is off doing multiple other things, home run franchising and some other things that he's been focusing on. And effective this week, I am joining Brand Journalists as CEO. And I know that's kind of a big change. I hope everyone thinks it is as exciting as I think it is. But I'm just looking at what's going on in the world, and man, this could not be a better move for me, and I hope for Brand Journalists as well.
I believe so. You know, we started, I've been a franchisor of 9 different brands. And actually, Jack, we go way back past 2009. I think you were working at ENR or the press release company.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I was the franchisor at Showhome.
Back pre-social media. Think about
pre-Facebook, in the MySpace days, probably. That was back in the MySpace days, if that's possible.
Yeah, I recall an IFA event where you and I were meeting with some people talking about social media, and they about asked us to leave the event, because social media, that's what a fad. That's never going to take off. Why don't you guys pack up your Twitter and the Facebook and get out of here? So
that's so true. That led to founding FranCamp in 2010. If you remember the first FranCamp, which evolved into the IFA's marketing conference that we have today, like the FX.
It did, yeah. FranCamp that you started. I think we were at an old office space. I want to say it was on 4th in downtown Nashville.
Old Wells Fargo downtown. Our original Brand Journalist office for sure.
Yeah.
It's a bougie
and that
hotel.
Evolved into the IFA's marketing event. Yeah. And which now evolved into the IFA and Franchise Updates FCXC event. So it had some pretty humble, but pretty interesting beginnings back in 2010 or whatever year that was. Yeah. Talking about digital marketing for franchising. And here we are now on the cusp of lots of new technologies, lots of new strategies coming into 2023. And I think that's why I'm really excited about joining Brand Journalists right now. There's just so much opportunity. I think there are just so many brands out there that I can help and the Brand Journalist team can help, really get their story out there in front of more people. And that's where I see the opportunity in franchising over the next year or 2 or 3 years, actually.
Yeah, I think, and just for people who don't know, Brand Journalist is a franchise development company where, we're a mix of website developer, marketing agency, franchise consultant. We build sales processes. We help define and train franchise recruiters. just the whole soup to nuts, like how do you grow a franchise system on the development side? And it's been a very successful company as we're in our 15th year at this point and going strong. We're at record kind of levels. We're bigger than we've ever been. We've now grown over, I was counting that it was like more than like 420 franchise companies. It's just every time we sign up new people all the time.
Nice.
We've helped recruiters recruit over 12,000 franchisees. 12,000 franchisees is not a small number. We've added billions of dollars of value to franchise companies. And, there isn't a segment of franchising we haven't touched. We've done Sonic and Amco, and we're behind the Marco's Pizza growth, and we did all the Minchie's work, and you just go down the list. We've done some marquee brands and hundreds of emerging brands and everybody in between, and just about every segment. And really driven by my personal passion I really believe that franchising is the best way for people to participate in the economy at their full market value. And for that to happen, franchise companies have to have a way to identify and recruit the right kind of franchisees, the people that are the best fit, that will be top performers. And that's unfortunately hard for franchise companies to do. They have a really hard time recruiting not just people with money, but the right kind of people, the people that wake up and love the business. And so you and I are like-minded. I think it's a great time as my personal franchise brands, the four franchise systems I'm running, have really kind of kicked into high gear, to get some new talent in and see what we could do. I think it's interesting to me also that, people fall into one of two camps. Either they haven't ever heard a brand journalist or they're raving fans. And that seems to be the only two kinds of people that we have.
Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of that these days. And, I think the other thing that people are going to hear a lot from us this year is about all of the things that brand journalists does. A lot of people are very familiar with the video work, which is top notch, or, the award winning websites, but also, some of the sales processes and a lot of the other lead generation things that the team can do. I want to go back to something you said a couple of minutes ago about, working with brands across all sectors. And that's another thing that really appealed to me about brand journalists, that there are a lot of marketing firms and agencies out there that, they focus on the food sector, and there's some who are really good at the food business. There are a lot of marketing firms, especially in the last few years, that are solely focused on home service brands. Right. There are some that are even more niche than that. But I think it all comes back to something you told me many years ago, that there are no bad stories and there are no bad brands. There are just some poor storytellers. So it doesn't matter that you have a brand that you think is not the most exciting or not the most sexy or something like that. It doesn't matter what the brand does when it comes to the opportunity that brand could offer to some franchise owners and some small business owners. There's nothing sexier than that, right? There's nothing sexier than success. So being able to tell some of those stories in an exciting way, that's what really appeals to me. I think that's what has really appealed to the hundreds of brands that you and your team have been working with for a long time. And I'm just really excited about where we're going to be able to take this in 2023, 2024 and beyond. I think for any brands out there that are thinking about what they want to do this year and next year, the best advice I've heard from anyone is, if you haven't refreshed your own marketing plans and your own franchise marketing plans in the past 2 or 3 years, it's time to take a look. It's time to change what you've been doing, because let's face it, since 2018 or 2019, whenever the last time you came up with a new marketing plan was, the world has changed drastically. Franchising has changed drastically. And, what used to take a year to change, or maybe 6 months to change, that's all now changing in about 3 or 4 weeks, right? We're just in this amplified, accelerated time of change and growth. Thomas, you and I have talked about Chat GPT and some other technologies that I got to tell you, 60 days ago, I didn't even know existed, right? And now it's the most important thing going. You do a lot of work in some short form video, TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts and things like that. A year ago, we weren't talking about any of that stuff for franchise development.
Oh gosh, in our industry,
that's just how fast everything is changing.
They're so far behind the curve on where you need to be to grow. And, we talk about storytelling, hence the name brand journalists. Both of us have communications backgrounds in college and worked for media companies. I was a journalist in New Orleans, and you're a radio personality. It sounds like that's given your voice. But we're both professionally trained storytellers. And I think that's important because the story does always stand out. And I think that when we say that there aren't bad brands, they're just bad storytellers, what we mean is brands, especially in franchising, have done a pitifully poor job of articulating their story to people that want to buy what they have to sell. Like if you're a coffee franchise, like the amount of information that a potential franchise buyer consumes and their appetite for really specific, detailed conversational information is really substantial. And so brand journalists has got a reputation for being the best at this business, in a really niche agency of just leveraging storytelling at all fronts. And that's a powerful thing. And the power of a well-told story is you don't realize you're buying something. You're just genuinely interested in the subject, and it's mesmerizing.
Yeah. And I think telling those good stories in all of the places that brand journalists has been active, video, website, social media. I think maybe a lot more podcasting coming our way. In all of those places, the one thing that always stands out to me is getting back to that sort of basis of helping to find, and I'm going to steal a line from Peter Cole from the brand journalist team, helping to find the candidates who are most likely to succeed. There's a lot of other methods of marketing out there, and most of them are based on quantity of leads, not quality of leads. There's a lot of portals and pay-per-click programs and things like that, they can deliver 1,000 leads a month, and 995 of them are really lousy, or they're the same leads you paid for 2 years ago. But being able to find those people who are most likely to succeed as a franchisee, I think that's something that no other agency or franchise development firm or marketing firm in this space has really been focused on. And that's something that you guys have really built up and built a reputation on over the past few years.
Yeah, I just got off of, for the lighting squad, one of our handyman electric, I just got off a franchise call with a candidate that opted in over the weekend via conversational marketing on Facebook, some of the campaigns Brand Journalist does for that company. And it guy's a master electrician in Naples, Florida, went through the hurricane, and there's a shortage of electricians in that market. And he's been wanting to, doesn't know how to market and doesn't have CRM systems, doesn't have any of the technology stack in his business. And, we saw one of our ads because we understand how to target somebody like that. He's never going to come in through a portal or a broker. He's not that educated about the franchising, but he's the perfect franchisee for us in that market. He's an amazing franchisee. He's very easy to train. He'll kill it. He'll just go out and make it an amazing business. He'll be easy to support. And so that's the kind of connections that you can make.
I don't know this guy, but I don't know him at all, but I'm going to guess he's not one of the 60,000 people that every other system has in their database right now. Right?
He's not a usual suspect. That's for sure.
He's not. No. He's not a usual suspect.
And that's the really funny thing. The problem is
not getting the same drip.
No, he's not getting the same drip. It's one of the really frustrating things in doing the work we've done is that there's 25 million people looking at business ownership at any point in the United, 25 million people. And we have this crappy list of 30 to 40 to 60,000 people that we target as an industry. And no wonder we only get 15 or 20,000 new people a year. We have to, as companies, have to do things differently. And, I like Brand Journals. I started it to be a leading edge kind of to push the industry in positive directions. And we've really succeeded in that, and probably to our own fault. We've never been really good at telling our own story and marketing aggressively because we've just a ton of referral business. We're the most referred agency in franchising probably. And you hear that people are like, I've never heard of them, but they're really good. That's all I hear. They're really good. So I'm excited. Also, I think that
I'd rather be really good and not well known than to be really well known for not being very good. Right. And we see that a lot in this space too. So
you do. But the other.
So Thomas, let's talk about what's going to happen. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it was the same thing. I think we're going to the same place as this next 2-year period we're going into is kind of an interesting time in franchising. And I've thrown out on LinkedIn the other day this idea that it's very possible that more people will buy a franchise in the next 2 years than have bought in the entire history of franchising in the United States, because there's a confluence of young entrepreneurs and people looking to business ownership as an alternative to a career in a cubicle, and there's more brands than ever before. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. The development is lightning speed in franchising right now.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that are really going to help grow the desire for franchising in the next year or two. One of them, unfortunately, is the economy. This is something we have no control over. And not to get political, but I don't see the economy improving anytime in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I just don't see it happening with the current government structures we have in place, except for possibly in a few states. But overall, I don't see a real rosy picture for corporate America. I don't think, the big brands are going to be, hiring lots of people right out of college at top level salaries. That's just not happening over the next few years. And I think that, coupled with a whole new generation of people that, I jokingly call them the Gary V generation, but they really are. It's the people who don't want those corporate jobs to begin with. They're looking at guys like me saying, why on earth did he spend 15 years climbing the corporate ladder? He should have opened his own business 20 years ago. And I think there's a whole generation of people who are really smart about that. And maybe some of it is by necessity. They don't see a lot of other options out there in corporate America, but that's forcing them into thinking about being an entrepreneur and owning their own business, and not waiting till they're 55 years old to do that, but do it when they're 25. And I think that's a thing that is relatively different than it was a generation ago. So I think that, along with the economy, is going to create a huge desire for not just brand journalists, but all of the other services out there and all of the other brands that are out there trying to market their key differentiator. I think this is going to be a great time for all of us in franchising. And I'm just so excited to be a part of this with you and the rest of the team at Brand Journalists.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. And we hate to waste a good recession. Recessions are an amazing time to grow franchise systems. They just we're a counter cycle industry. And if there was ever a time to grow your franchise system, investing in FranDev marketing today just has a huge ROI, because that saying, that economic saying that even turkeys fly in tornadoes, as soon as the wind stops, everybody falls out. Smart operators today are going to invest in FranDev marketing, and they're going to reap the results, because think about all the fear and loathing and anxiety and all these work from home people that are now laid off from home and can't buy a house, and they're trapped. And a franchise ownership offers a really clear path for those people. But it all hinges on your ability to tell a story on your website, to build a website that tells your story, to execute campaigns, and generally go through the trouble to recruit the right people. It works for every single brand.
Yeah, it works for every brand, and I think we're also past the days of people kind of going back to what we were dealing with a dozen or more years ago, getting past that idea that certain types of marketing just don't work for B2B or for franchise development or something like that. I think more and more people are open to the fact that a whole lot of people in this country, not just young people, but a whole lot of people are looking at all of these new channels, and new channels are opening up every day. And I think you want to make sure you're working with some people who are watching this and seeing where things are working, and be ready to change and shift to a new channel and a new direction in a very short amount of time. Because like I said earlier, if you haven't redone your marketing plan since 2018 or 2019, it's time to redo it and refresh it right now. Same thing's going to happen for the future. Don't make a marketing plan for the next 3 years, right? Stay on a little bit of a shorter goal track, and don't make plans for 5 or 10 years when it comes to your marketing, because things are changing so quickly that you want to work with a team that is ready to shift and meet with you constantly and be ready to change that strategy when we see some other things coming our way that we could really jump on and make some more opportunities out of. So it's going to be a great year. A couple of things that are sort of top of mind for me right now, Thomas. If anybody is heading out to some of the upcoming franchise events, I know we're heading to the Titus Center this week here around the 19th and 20th of January in West Palm Beach. That's going to be exciting. If anybody's going there, please let me know. I'd love to chat with you there. Some other events coming up soon absolutely include the International Franchise Association Convention in Vegas. Brand Journalists will be there February 26th through March 1st. So please let me know if you're going to be there. Would love to chat with you at some point in Vegas.
For sure. And any specific problems that you're, like if you're a friend dev person, a founder, a CEO, a VP of development, and you're thinking about investing in development, like what are the things that you want to talk to people about?
I think the biggest thing is finding the right candidates, finding the candidates who are actually going to convert and become buyers, and really getting past this idea of just having a huge list of leads that we can be active and call on and have a lot of nice activity, but not actually get anybody into business. I think that's sort of the key thing for me right now, is being able to focus on the people who are most likely to succeed.
Yeah. And that strategy could mean replacing your franchise recruitment website, it be coming up with a different sales process. Certainly long and short form video, like the TikTok style stuff, traditional digital ads. Like there's just a lot of opportunity now to market differently. Like if you've been using the same digital marketing strategy for leads for the last 3 or 4 years, you might be missing the boat. There might be huge things that you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
So definitely start a conversation with us for that.
Yeah. And it goes back to all of those places where you don't know where the great candidates could be living digitally right now. Right. And for so many years, people were only focused on a couple of places. And now, instead of saying, well, some people are over here, but our people are over there. No, the reality is everybody is spread out, and it's becoming more fragmented. People are on all different types of digital channels. And the cold hard reality is we have to meet them on all digital channels. We can't say we're only going to do Facebook ads or we're only going to do pay-per-click, because even on the best day, you're only going to get a fraction of the people that you need to reach. So hitting as many channels as possible with great storytelling, that's, I think, where we're going to make a difference.
Right. Awesome. Well, Jack, how can people get in touch with you? Like if they're curious about development or want to talk shop, like what's the best way for people to reach you in your new role?
Absolutely. A couple of great ways. Hit me on LinkedIn at any time. I'm only on LinkedIn about 21 hours out of the day. I'm usually not on LinkedIn between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. That's when I take a little break. But seriously, hit me there anytime. You can text me at 312-399-1967, or you can email me at jmonson@brandjournalists.com.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to you to continuing your work with Social Geek Radio, which has been an amazing podcast series. And you're going to continue to do lots of your work with the IFA outside of Brand Journalists too. So it's best of both worlds for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Jack.
Yeah,
Excited.
It really is. So thanks so much for the chat today, Thomas. We will see you soon in West Palm Beach.
All right. Thank you.